Hello and welcome as I attempt to explain what was going on in Season 23. Season 23 continued to confuse and bewilder, assisted this time by the introduction of jazz weather. At the start of each game, the band would play, and a riff would open, as jazz morphed into an existing weather. The only weather we did not see riffed into play was Coffee 2, but flooding and solar eclipse are clearly the band's favourite tunes. In the late siesta, we saw fax machine and new renovation stables be ratified into law. The Tigers became the first team to install hot air balloons. The mechanics and garages opted for a condensed floor plan, while the shoe thieves and Magic recrafted their fortifications in anti-graphene. After the replica craze of last season, none were available this time around. Instead, we saw a large uptake in classic modifications, late to the party and ambitious. We also saw new items, granting the modifications Stealed, which allows a player to preempt and prevent consumer attacks, Flickering, making the player more prone to feedback, and Squiddish, where if the player is to be incinerated, they will be replaced with a player from the Hall of Flame. In this season, we saw Roadhouse's debt continue to make players across the league unstable, and it sadly claimed its first victims in the third season. Yet, a new development was Uncle Plasma detecting foul play and intentionally walking Roadhouse whenever they faced each other, preventing Roadhouse from hitting players and causing more instability. In the postseason, we see the wildcard teams knocked out by the Dalé and the Millennials. We then see the Sunbeams, the Worms, the Moist Talkers and the Garages move on to the league championships. The Worms and the Moist Talkers take those titles, but it is the Moist Talkers who are victorious in the final, claiming their third championship. On the flip side, the wildcard Jazz Hands are knocked out, but the Pies make it to the next round. The Tigers, Georgias, Magic and Mechanics play for the league titles, seeing the Georgias and the Magic win, both going 3-1 up, before the Magic lose the hardest to be crowned under-champions. During the series, we saw the Black Hole activate 39 times, and Sun 2 36 times. There were 112 parties, and thankfully consumer attacks were rare, seeing just 14 of them. 3 reverbs occurred, and sadly 5 incinerations, including previously incinerated Pudge Nakamoto. 6 feedbacks saw Siobhan Chark move between 3 different teams, and the Tigers and Jazz Hands experience an unfeedback, as 2 identical feedbacks mean no change. And of course, after the championships was the SemiCentennial Match, as we saw our rising stars face off against the Vault of Legends. The match was called a draw after Sun exploded in the final inning, causing a supernova. This will have an interesting effect on next season, as wins may revert to unwins again, as they can no longer be squared. There will be special coverage of the rest of this match to come in a separate video. The Reader made 2 appearances during this season, in the El Siesta and on day 98, to offer more cryptic words. But we also saw the Millennials reach the top of the depth chart and be encircled by the Reader's purple ring. We also saw the power of the Traitor modification, as the Traitor Concrete Shoes of Fortitude, which Inez Owens had gained in the Season 22 election, was pinballed around between 7 Flowers teammates, before ending the season back in Inez's possession. Thank you for joining me for another Blaxplanation. I'll be back with more Blaseball fun and facts soon, but until then, rejoice, play ball.